the main focus of my work is on lake plants and what plants can tell us about the ecology of lakes. What are desirable lake plants and what are undesirable lake plants. In other words, what are invasive species we want to get rid of. So I not only teach about these things, but I also consult for DNR and various organizations. I do lake surveys, and what you do is you look at the lake population early on in the season. You map out the invasive species. There's a lot of similarities here to what you would do in a terrestrial habitat. Fortunately in the lakes we have a few less invasives to deal with. And I'm talking here about not the wetland fringe, I'm talking about the submerged and floating part of the vegetation is mainly what I'm focusing on here. So we really only have a couple of bad invasives to deal with in lakes in Indiana, unlike terrestrial where the number just keeps getting bigger and bigger. We have 30, 40 different invasives to worry about in terrestrial habitats. So I do a lot of lake survey work. Usually, when we go down there, I'll show you, we use a double-sided rake that we throw into the bottom and drag along for a certain distance, and then we look at the diversity on the end of that rake. And we do points all over the lake, and then we use GPS and we map all of the invasive aquatic plant beds. And then based on those maps, herbicide applicators come in and they try to kill off selectively those non-natives, especially Eurasian water milfoil is the big one. That's the biggest problem in Indiana. And then the second one is curly leaf pondweed is the other bad invasive. Curly leaf pondweed is in your Valpo lakes here is especially prevalent in Loomis. Loomis Lake is full of curly leaf pondweed. Right now it's just choked with it.
Now, we had a little sign on our waterfront that they just treated Long Lake a couple weeks ago.
Did they?
Yeah.
For curly leaf? Yeah.
I don't know what they just said that they're...
Yeah, it's probably curly leaf. Curly leaf is a spring flowering plant that comes up very early, and the problem is that it dies back to all these little overwintering buds, and it's gone by typically gone by the end of June. And then it comes up very early in the spring again. So what they try to do is they try to get in and herbicide it in May, typically, or early June. And then the Eurasian milfoil, they wait till sometime in July to typically herbicide that. Now, as someone who's interested in the importance of biodiversity, why should we care if there are lots of different native species in a lake? And I think this is an educated group. We know that that biodiversity is important because biodiversity at the bottom of the system, at the bottom trophic levels, means more biodiversity above that. It means different possibilities in terms of macroinvertebrate communities. Aquatic plants are important for many reasons, and the biggest fight I have, because I give talks to a lot of lake associations and classes, is that people want to herbicide everything. And I guess in some ways that's no different than terrestrial habitats. People don't like those plants touching their feet when they go in the water, and they don't like, having to swim in it, and they don't like the feel of it. So they want to eradicate everything. So I spend a lot of time going to lake associations that I work with and giving talks on the importance of aquatic plants. Why are they important to the ecology of the lake? Most people are interested in recreation, especially fishing. So one of the points it hits home is that aquatic plants are an important habitat for macroinvertebrates and invertebrates that fish, especially young of the year fish, small fish, feed on.